And we're back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dark Phoenix Gaming, and welcome back to Let's Play Morrowind with Terra. So, last time around, we were finishing up in Vivek City, interviewing some more informants for Caius about the Sixth House and Nerevarine cults, and learning some rather interesting things. We also met his priestess friend over in the temple and bought a heretical text from the local bookseller. So that was fun. This time, we're off to Aldaroon because there's an Ashlander trader there who we need to give him a gift, which is apparently an Ashlander custom with meeting a new person, and ask him to tell us about the Ashlanders and Nerevarine cult. So that is what we'll be doing this time. Off we go then. And as this Hasor Zainsubani fellow is over in Aldaroon, we have an easy way over there because the Mages Guild, which we are a member of, happens to include teleportation services, you may recall. So we're just going to teleport over to the Mages Guild and go find the fellow that way. It'll be much faster than walking. Besides, we have a couple of places that we want to go for the Mages Guild, because I still have a quest or two on for them, I believe. There's this expedition. The Necromancer one is broken. Because of how we resolved that quest for the orc here. She has vanished from the game.
You flatter me with your attention, Outlander.
In any case, we're gonna head to Aldaroon and resolve things with the Ashlander trader. Then we have some other stuff to do there.
What can I help you with?
Send me to Aldaroon. Thanks for that. Let's see. We also need to find Morgan. Because we have a quest for the Mages Guild there. And that's literally all I know about it. So pretty much the same, but maybe I could let you in on a little secret. Oh, it's just crap about getting expelled. Whatever.
To what do I owe this pleasure?
Now, we want the Altsgar Inn as a place to look for our trader. I have to stop and check this stuff. Here we are. In Alderaan proper. Thieves Guild. Let's find the place we're after. The rat in the pot. He said the Aldskarian was more... Caius did that it was a more high standards place, so we were more likely to find our merchant friend there, so I'm gonna take him at his word for now. Right now, though, I really need to find where Morgan is. To find Hulin's hut. That one quest. As no one seems to want to give me directions for some reason. No, that's just the temple. I don't have any need for your stuff. You have nothing to tell me?
You may speak.
Honestly, should have seen that one coming.
What
Who
is
are
this
you
regarding
then?
Cyrodiil?
I can't ask you about Morgan, that's unfortunate. Manor District? No.
Outlander, what do you want?
I don't know why you're talking to me, lady. Go away. Eldskar Inn. This is our place. Let's go see the proprietor and see if we can find out anything.
Outlander.
Okay. I am looking for Hasor Zain Subani. Do you know where I might find him, good madam? It's a trader and a wealthy one. He has his own room here. He's born an Ashlander and knows their speech and customs and has grown rich by trading with them. Are the things prized by Westerners? Is that what you wanted to know? I wanted to know where he is, but if he has his own room here, then I should just sort of be able to poke around and find him on my own, I guess.
What is this regarding, Cyrodiil?
No. You won't tell me where Morgan is, though, so
There's someone
that's
watching.
annoying.
You may speak.
Yes, Outlander?
Specific place?
Must
No,
there-
that's useless information.
What is this regarding, Senator?
You're looking. You're not sent by Ronis to try to convince me to join the Mages Guild. No, that's not why I'm here. Although, that's probably the next quest she's going to want to offer me. Convince this guy to join the guild.
Come on. I haven't got all day to stand around and talk to you.
Greetings, traveler. You look like the adventuring type. Could I interest you in a little adventure? Not right now. I'll get back with you on that one. I have urgent matters of my own to attend to.
What is this regarding, Senator? I've got better things to do, so if you do let's move this along.
Okay.
Yes, Outlander.
Maybe we can find...
Outlander.
No, you're not who I'm looking for. Look, what the hell? I've searched all of the rooms. Oh, that explains it. Mr. Zaisubani will be down here. I was searching the wrong set of stairs.
Outlander. Well,
I saw Zain Subani. Just the dark elf I was looking for. I am High Sword Zain Subani. Terra, may you bless and be blessed. I do not wish to be rude, but if you have business, speak it. I am at leisure and would prefer to be alone with my thoughts. I see. Just a lot of Ashlanders from me. And what is it that you wish to learn? What are their gift-giving customs? A curious question. Gift is a sign of courtesy among strangers, and affection among friends. Among strangers, a thoughtful gift is a sign that you are cautious and considerate, and aware of the other's wants and needs. Such is particularly useful for traders and travelers. Among friends, it is a private thing and subtle, with great risks, for the test of the gift is how well it is tailored to the receiver. Oh, I see, and purely from a hypothetical standpoint, if I wished to give a gift to you, what would you like that gift to be? Yes, a gift that shows you've taken the care to learn something of the receiver. For example, I love poetry. No stranger could be expected to know this, but a book of poetry given to me by a stranger shows the giver respects me and has made a special effort to know and please me. Now I have answered your questions and would like some time to yourself. If you will excuse me? Of course, I understand. I will see you later. Bookseller / merchant / pawnbroker. That's what we need now.
What is this regarding?
So we have to buy our new friend a book of poetry if we want to learn more about the Ashlanders and the Nerevarine cult. And according to my map, there's a bookseller just up here. And I believe we passed this cellar earlier when I was looking for that particular inn. Here we are.
Come on. I haven't got all day to stand around and talk to you.
You're not the bookseller in question. you're just someone else who hangs about here, apparently. I'm Codus Colonus, bookseller. Welcome to Aldaroon, the district seat of House Redoran. Are you looking for someone in particular? No. What I'm looking for is books about poetry. Ashland hymns. That sounds like it could fit the bill.
Do you want
Go.
something from me?
Now, let us return. And deliver this poetry book. Hopefully, our new Ashlander friend is pleased with the gift we bring him.
You may speak.
Hello again, friend. I have something for you. This is a gift for me. I am amazed. A copy of Ashland Hymns. Simple sentiments, simply stated. I gratefully accept your gift. My people have never loved the written word, and I lament their ignorant scorn for such common yet potent magic. I thank you and I honor your courtesy, Terra. It would please me to return your courtesy by answering your questions. What would you wish to know about the Ashlanders and the Nerevarine cult? Okay, let's start with the cult. I worship the great Ashkan and Hortator, Nerevar Moon and Star, who in ages past destroyed the evil godless dwarves and banished the treacherous Dagoth and his foul hosts beneath Red Mountain. The cult is of small consequence in Ashlander worship, and only among the Urshalaku do its followers have any influence. Other Ashlander tribes share the sentiments of the cult, but regard the Nerevarine prophecies with suspicion and skepticism. And do you know anything about the prophecies beyond what we've already heard, I wonder? I've heard it said that the prophecies foretell the return of a reincarnated Nerevar who shall drive the foreigners from the Ashlands, and who shall cast down the false gods of the temple and restore the true worship of the ancestors. It is a dream that would appeal to every Ashlander, but it is thought but a silly ancient legend and little more by many Ashlanders, myself included. I gotta be honest, I don't blame them for the skepticism. It does seem like a rather far-fetched claim to be making, prophecy or no. Now, what's this about Ashlander worship? All Ashlanders in a tribe, young and small, are born into the ancestor cult of their clan. The Nerevarine cult is different, though. It is a very small cult with only a few wise women with the gift of prophecy, and a few holy warrior heroes who guard and protect the seers. Solmatul, Ashkan of the Urshalaku, is the warrior protector of the cult, and Nibani Mesa, also the Urshalaku, is the oracle seer of the cult. Now, you mentioned an Urshalaku. I presume that's one of the Ashlander tribes? The Ursulaku are the Ashlanders of the Northern Ashlands and the West Gash. In the northwest of Vardenfell, Ashkan Sulmatul is their chief, a brave and respected war leader, and warrior protector of the Nerevarine cult. The Ursulaku camp moves with the herds. It usually lies close to the Sea of Ghosts. Well, if we ever need to find them, that will be useful information. Now, about the Ashlanders. There's too much to tell. Here, take these notes. I've written here what you should know about the Ashlanders and the Nerevarine cult. But most of all, if you're visiting a camp, there are things you should know about courtesy and challenges among the Ashlanders. And since you ask about the Nerevarine cult, perhaps you'll be interested in my views on the Ashlanders and foreigners, because a guiding passion of the Nerevarine cult is their hatred of foreigners. And being one myself, we don't expect to be too well received on that front, honestly. Challenges and courtesy, you say? Alright. When challenged for sport, it is acceptable to decline. When challenged for honor, it is shameful to decline. Honor challenges come from offense given in speech or action, and may represent customary formal challenges of status or ritual. Okay, but how am I supposed to tell the difference between an honor challenge and a sport challenge, when what you've told me in this conversation is basically the extent of my knowledge on the Ashlanders? Are we supposed to just wing it and hope for the best? Apparently we are. Now, you also said something about courtesy. Ashlanders may challenge a stranger who enters a yurt without invitation. Customs differ with different tribes, but leave when requested, and you may be forgiven. Be particularly careful about Ashkans, tribal chiefs, and wise women, tribal seers and counselors. Some are welcoming, some are hostile. Be courteous and leave if requested. If offended, they may attack. Oh, great. That's all we need. But enough about that. We can worry about that whole thing when it becomes relevant, I suppose. But I am interested in what you mentioned before about your views on Ashlanders and foreigners. So, share away. Most Ashlanders wish all foreigners and their false gods could be driven from Morrowind. At the very least, Ashlanders wish the foreign devils would leave them in peace. Ashlanders think it shameful to attack unarmed persons. They will kill without hesitation an armed person who offends them or their clan laws. No Ashlander is fool enough to make war against the Empire. However, if such a war might be won, many Ashlanders might cheerfully give their lives to win such a war. Oh dear. It does not look like the Empire is doing a very good job at convincing the Ashlanders that they should want them around. Might have to include a few political recommendations in Caius's next brief to the Emperor to see if we can do something about that. And I don't think there's anything else we really need to know from Mr. Zain Subani here, so we'll just say goodbye and
May you
thanks for all the
find
fish.
all that you seek, traveler. Come on.
And
Can't have all day to stand around and
now,
talk to you.
we have some notes sitting around here. This is that note from Ajira. We can ignore that. So, I'm going to stop for a moment and actually take the time to read some of my old notes and things. Before we go anywhere. The one from Hulia could probably do with some reading. So, we have the mission from Vivek already. I will read Hulia's notes. The following are Hulia's notes for Caius Cosades. The history of the Ashlanders and the Nerevarine cult. In the first era, barbaric Dunmer culture settled Dunmer clans, and nomadic Dunmer tribes, like the Ashlanders, were roughly equal in number and wealth. Under the civilized peace of the Grand Council, and with the strong central authority of the Temple, the economic and military power of the settled Dunmer quickly outstripped that of the nomadic Dunmer. The nomadic Dunmer were marginalized into the poorest, most hostile land, in particular into the Vardenfell Wastes. For the Ashlanders, the return of a reincarnated Nerevar represents a long-for and largely romanticized golden age of Nerevar's peace, when the nomadic tribes enjoyed equality with the settled Dunmer, and before the Dunmer people had for the most part abandoned traditional ancestor worship for the autocratic theocracy of the Tribunal Temple. The Nerevar of the Ashlanders. This is the story of Nerevar as an Ashlander might tell it. In ancient days, the Deep Elves and a great host of Outlanders from the west came to steal the land of the Dunmer. In that time, Nerevar was the great Khan and war leader of the House people. But he honored the ancient spirits and the tribal law, and became one of us. So when Nerevar pledged upon his great ring of the ancestors, one clan under moon and star, to honor the ways of the spirits and rights of the land, all the tribes joined the House people to fight a great battle at Red Mountain. Though many Dunmer tribesmen and housemen died at Red Mountain, the Dwemer were defeated and their evil magics destroyed, and the Outlanders driven from the land. But after this great victory, the power-hungry Khans of the great houses slew Nerevar in secret, and, setting themselves up as gods, neglected Nerevar's promises to the tribes. But it is said that Nerevar will come again with his ring and cast down the false gods, and, by the power of his ring, will make good his promises to the tribes, to honor the spirits and drive the outsiders from the land. Persecution of the Nerevarine cult. The Tribunal Temple regards the mysticism and prophecy of the Nerevarine cult as primitive superstition. The Ashlander ancestor cults, and the Nerevarine in particular, have always decried the worship of living Dunmer as abominations, suspecting the unnatural lifetimes of the Tribunal to be signs of profane sorcery or necromancy, though the authoritarian and intolerant temple priesthood has always been inclined to tolerate Ashland ancestor cult practices. They have always threatened Nerevarine claimants with death or imprisonment. While generally tolerant of various cult worships, the Imperial Commission of the Occupation outlaws cults hostile to the Emperor and the Empire, and threatens members of such cults with imprisonment or death. The Ordinators are allowed a free hand when dealing with outlawed cults like the Nerevarine. Peakstar and other incarnates in the past. In the past, others have claimed to be the reincarnated Nerevar of prophecy. The most recent is known as Peakstar, a mysterious figure who has reportedly appeared and disappeared among the Waste tribes over the last 30 years. The temple notes that these false incarnates discredit the Nerevarine prophecies. Singularly and illogically, the Ashlanders acknowledge a history of false claimants, calling them failed incarnates. They regard them as proof of the validity of the prophecies, rather than contradiction. Among the Nerevarine, there is a fable of a cavern of the incarnates, where the spirits of the failed incarnates dwell. The Nerevarine cult is a mystical cult, and it glorifies rather than shrinks from contradictions. So they actually claim that there being attempted Nerevar reborn people who have failed at it means that it's true? I gotta be honest, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. It really does not. On that note, though, before we read what Zain Spani has left us, we still have this copy of Progress of Truth that we got for Caius, and I want to read that, because where better to read a heretical and banned text than in the middle of a tavern in a town run by one of the great houses. I'm sure nothing can go badly from this. Progress of Truth, compiled by the Dissident Priests. Excerpt, concerning the points of temporal doctrine challenged by the Dissident Priests. 1. The divinity of the tribunal. Temple doctrine claims their apotheosis was miraculously achieved through questing, virtue, knowledge, testing, and battling with evil. Temple doctrine claims their divine powers and ultimately immortality are ultimately conferred as a communal judgment by the Dunmer ancestors, including, among others, the good Daedra, the prophet Veloth, and Saint Nerevar. Dissident priests ask whether Dagoth-Ur's powers and the tribunal's powers might be one and the same, or rather might ultimately derive from the same source, Red Mountain. Sources in the Apocrypha suggest that the tribunal relied on profanely enchanted tools to achieve godhead, and that those unholy devices were the ones originally created by the ungodly Dwemer sorcerer Kagrenak to create the false construct Numidium. 2. The purity of the tribunal. The dissident priests say that the temple has always maintained a public face, represented by the hieroglypha, the priestly writings, and a hidden face represented by the apocrypha, the hidden writings. The public account portrays the actions of the tribunal in a heroic light, while the hidden writings reveal secrets, untruths, and inconsistencies. Conflicting accounts and varying interpretations hint at darker and less heroic motives and actions of the tribunes. In particular, conflicting accounts of the battle at Red Mountain raise questions about the tribunal's conduct and about the source of their subsequent apotheosis. Also, there is good evidence that the tribunal have been concealing the true nature of the threat posed by Dagoth-Ur at Red Mountain, misleading the people about the tribunal's ability to protect Morrowind from Dagoth-Ur, and concealing a recent dramatic diminishing of the tribunal's magical powers. 3. Temple accounts of the Battle of Red Mountain. Ashlander tradition does not place the tribunal at Red Mountain and holds that the Dwemer destroyed themselves, rather than that Nerevar destroyed them. Ashlander tradition further holds that Nerevar left Dagoth-Ur guarding the profane secrets of Red Mountain, while Nerevar went to confer with the Grand Council, i.e. the tribunal, that Nerevar died at the conference, not of his wounds according to the Ashlanders, but from treachery, and that subsequently the tribunal confronted a defiant Dagoth-ur within Red Mountain, and then drove Dagoth-ur beneath Red Mountain when he would not yield to their will. 4. Veneration of the Daedra saints and ancestors. While challenging the divinity of the tribunal, the dissidents do not challenge the sainthood or heroism of the tribunal. In fact, the dissident priests advocate restoring many of the traditional fundamentalist ancestor worship as practiced by the Ashlanders and by Saint Veloth. Exactly how this would work is debated inconclusively within the dissident priests. I'm not surprised. I mean, honestly, it's always going to be easier to criticize something and say there is a problem with it than to come up with concrete solutions, because just because you can identify that there's something wrong with a thing doesn't mean you know what the solution would be. It's like game development. I can play a game or look at screenshots of something and tell you when something is wrong and what that thing is, but that doesn't mean I know enough about game development to be able to suggest a practical alternative. Anyways, back to the book. 5. Denial of the prophecies of the Incarnate and persecution of the Nerevarines. Though no consensus exists among the dissidents about whether the Nerevarine prophecies are genuine, all agree that the persecution of the Nerevarines is unjust and politically motivated. The dissident priests do not reject mysticism, revelation, or prophecy as part of the religious experience. The dissidents have not resolved the issue of true or false insights. They have studied the mysticism of the Ashlander ancestor cults, in particular the rites of the Ashlander seers and wise women, and the prophecies of the Incarnate. Many among the dissident priests have come to believe that the Nerevarine prophecies are genuine, and have made a systematic study of prophecies recorded in temple archives. 6. Authority of the Archcanon and the Ordinators. The dissident priests reject the authority of the Archcanon and the Ordinators. The temple hierarchy has been corrupted by self-interest and politics, and no longer acts in the best interests of the temple or its worshippers. The dissident priests believe the Archcanon and Ordinators speak for themselves, not for the tribunal. 7. The Inquisition and the use of terror and torture by the Ordinators. Within the temple hierarchy, it is an open secret that the Ordinators rely on abduction, terror, torture, and secret imprisonment to discourage heresy and dissent. The dissident priests feel the Ordinators are either out of control or tools used to maintain a corrupt priesthood in power. Yeah, I'm going with option 2 on that one, honestly. Tools to maintain the corrupt priesthood. Easy one. Number 8. Fundamentals of temple doctrine. Charity for the poor, education for the ignorant, protection for the weak. Though the dissident priests acknowledge that most rank-and-file priests honor the best traditions of the temple, they believe that many priests in higher ranks are interested more in the love of authority and luxury than in the welfare of the poor, weak, and ignorant. Okay, that was a very interesting read, and those dissident priests definitely have some arguments worthy of consideration, even if they don't exactly have everything nailed down at this moment in time. But now, we are going to give Zain Subani's notes a read before we head back to Caius. The following are notes on the Ashlanders and the Nerevarine cult prepared for you by Hysor Zain Subani. The Ashlanders are the direct descendants of the Aldmeri peoples who followed the prophet Veloth into the lands we now call Morrowind. The Ashlanders retain the modest nomadic life and simple ancestor worship of their forebears, and despise the soft lives and decadent worships of the settled Great House Dunmore cultures. The wastes are harsh and unforgiving, and we are a hard people. There is a beauty and honor in our simple lives. The snobs of the temple and great houses are fools to dismiss us as crude savages. Ashlanders and foreigners. Most Ashlanders wish all foreigners and their false gods could be driven from Morrowind. At the very least, Ashlanders wish the foreign devils would leave them in peace. Ashlanders think it shameful to attack unarmed persons, but they will kill without hesitation an armed person who offends them or their clan laws. No Ashlander is fool enough to make war against the Empire. However, if such a war might be won, many Ashlanders might cheerfully give their lives to win such a war. Yeah, I know parts of that are repeated, but I feel like I should read it in case there are parts that aren't. But let me skim it real quick. Now, the rest of this is the stuff that he said in his dialogue, so we will in fact skip. And with that, we are done. There's no need to read the rest of it, given those are things that we were told during our actual conversation. So,
What is this about?
go ahead and head back to the Mages Guild so we can return to Caius and give him the news about all of the stuff we found out. Though I deliberately will not mention the fact that we sat around the Eldscar Inn reading heretical texts. I have a feeling he probably wouldn't be too impressed with us risking ourselves by reading Progress of Truth in the middle of Eldaroon. So we'll just conveniently forget to mention that.
Let's hear it.
Back to the Mages Guild.
Walk with virtue, Outlander.
Greetings, Mutsera.
And we already have our duties from here, but I'm just trying to find someone to get directions to Margan from. Would it kill you to tell me where Margan is, lady? You appear to think so. Back to Balmora we go.
How fare thee, friend?
orc lady still owns her chests despite not existing anymore.
Welcome.
8 p.m. Right. Back over to Caius now. We have some sharing to do. Hey Caius.
Well met.
Sit your glorious shirtless ass down. I have news. And yes, it's about my orders. Thank you for your report, but keep Zain Subani's notes on the Ashlanders. You'll need them. I'm promoting you and sending you to the Urshalaku camp to speak with Sul Matul and Nabani Mesa. But before you go, I think it may be time to tell you what's going on. Oh, that sounds ominous. The Emperor and his advisors think you have the appearance of matching the conditions of the Nerevarine prophecies. That's why you were pulled out of prison on His Majesty's authority and sent to me, so you could satisfy the conditions of the Nerevarine prophecies and become the Nerevarine. Here, this is a decoded copy of the coded packet you gave me when you arrived. Read it later, it should explain everything. As you'll see in the decoded message, the Emperor and his counselors say you have the appearance of satisfying the prophecy. Do you really satisfy the prophecy? Are you really the prophesied Nerevarine? At first, thought we were just supposed to create a persuasive imposter. Now, I don't know what to think. I am sure of one thing, this is not just primitive superstition. We'll treat it seriously, just as His Majesty commands. So, Zain Subani says Sul Matul and Nabani Mesa at the Urshalaku camp are the heads of the Nerevarine cult, so I'm sending you to speak with them. Tell them your story and have them test you against the Nerevarine prophecies. As heads of the Nerevarine cult, they can best judge whether you satisfy the prophecies. When you've spoken with them, report back to me. Here's 200 drakes for expenses, and pick up essential supplies at Fort Moonmoth. Before you go to the Urshalaku camp, see Somatus Vunus and Crulius Pontanian at Fort Moonmoth. I've asked them to put aside some potions and scrolls for you, courtesy of the Emperor. In particular, you'll want the cure potions. I hear blight is very bad up north, and use the divine intervention scroll if you find you're in over your head. It'll get you safely to an Imperial cult shrine where you can heal, refit, and try again. Well, thank you for that. And that is quite a lot to unpack here. Really is. So I can unpack it in the morning. For now, it is sleepy time. And we had a dream. Of course we did. In your dreams, a tall figure with a golden mask greeted you, saying, "There are many rooms in the house of the master. Be easy, for from the hands of your enemies I have delivered you." It seemed you had died and could see yourself laid upon a table lit by candles. But with your own hands, you touched the figure, and the figure drew breath, opened eyes, and rose from the table. Then the room was gone, and the world filled with light, and you awoke. Yeah, That's not creepy in the slightest. But it would seem we have both a travel destination and some more reading material now. Oh boy, have we got a lot to do.